Hi, and welcome to Concussion Talk Podcast. Available wherever you get podcasts, or you can go to the website at concussiontalk.com. Concussion Talk Podcast is presented by HeadCheck Health. HeadCheck Health bridges gaps in concussion care through simple, powerful technology. Join organizations like the Canadian Football League, Track Factory Racing, the Canadian Junior Hockey League, Eastern Washington University, and Volleyball Canada, who rely on HeadCheck to improve communication and optimize care. Visit headcheckhealth.com for more. And this episode, my side of this, is also presented by a local sponsor, a great optometry clinic here in St. John's, Brian, the Vision Development Center. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be hearing, watching me talk about the Vision Development Center. If people listening to this on YouTube, on audio, will just be listening to the ad. But the Vision Development Center is located at 100 Brookfield Road here in St. John's. The phone number is 709-368-1155, or you can email them at info@thevisiondc.com. You can also visit their website at thevisiondevelopmentcenter.com. And now back to on to Cassandra and Miriam of the NLBIA, the Newfoundland and Labrador Brain Injury Association, for the final episode of Brain Injury Awareness Month, which is June in Canada, and they'll be talking to Constable James Cadigan of the RNC, which is our local RNC is the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary, which is our local police force here in St. John's.
Welcome to Concussion Talk Podcast. This is Cassandra with the NLBIA and my co-host Miriam.
Hello.
We're back with another episode, the last one for the month. Today we have Constable James Cadigan with the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we're gonna jump right in. So our first question that we have is, what is intimate partner violence, and who do you find is mostly involved in intimate partner violence?
Yeah, so I mean, intimate partner violence is violent activity that would occur between two individuals who are in a sexual relationship or intimate relationship, and that can be a situation that it could be new, it could be long term. Essentially, it's just the fact that these individuals engaged would have an intimate relationship.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the signs that someone is experiencing intimate partner violence?
I mean, there's a broad spectrum of behaviors that we would certainly want our community to tune into, and I'll start with being isolated or withdrawn. If you have somebody, a family friend or someone in your life that seems to have become more isolated and removed from your circle and less communicative, and that's a change in their behavior, then that certainly would be a flag that would indicate perhaps there is some change in their life that has caused that, and often intimate partner violence would be one of those impacts to such behavior.
Mm-hmm. And do you find like women are more involved, or men, or is it both? Like, what kind of genders do you find are involved in this violence?
Yeah, I mean, I think the general, when you talk about intimate partner violence, you think it is generally women, females who are predominantly survivors of intimate partner violence, and but that is it's important to really recognize that does not mean that males are not also impacted and to a degree in intimate partner violence. And there are many persons that come forward to the RNC, males that have experienced intimate partner violence as well. So I wouldn't want to say that there's more or less of either gender to even you look at non-binary and our 2S LGBTQ population. You really have to consider that there's no real way for us to determine that it happens more. It's just about when you look at the behaviors involved in partner violence and working together to identify when your loved one is in that situation and providing support to them.
Yeah, I think that was definitely really an important point there, because a lot of the stats that we've come across is 35 to 80% of women affected by intimate partner violence experience symptoms of traumatic brain injury. However, it's not just women that are affected. So I think that's really important for people to be aware of. So you mentioned the RNC actually has an intimate partner violence unit. What is their role, and how and when do they get involved?
Yeah, so the Intimate Partner Violence Unit operates within the Criminal Investigation Division of the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary, particularly within our Major Crime Unit. And this dedicated unit is, their responsibilities are broad in a sense that, they don't just investigate the crimes, they also are somewhat advocates to individuals who come forward and direct them to appropriate resources, support services, and essentially educate individuals, who want support or perhaps want to make a police complaint as to how the process plays out and what to expect. And there's also programs which are existent here at the RNC that can help support an individual who is transitioning and wants to move out of a relationship or remove themselves from a violent environment.
Yeah, so you kind of already talked about the programs and stuff. Can you talk about more about what happens to the victim after the assault takes place? Also, like the documentation and just the steps that are taken afterwards?
Yeah, certainly. So, there's a variety of ways that the RNC can become aware of intimate partner violence. It could be a call for service. It could be, information that's provided to us anonymously. It could be, as part of an ongoing investigation of an unrelated matter, and so on. So there's many ways that we are vested with information as police officers that we then essentially, if we're vested with information that there's violence impacting an individual, we have a duty to at least make contact or to provide supports to that person. And, in a situation where a police officer becomes aware that a person has been, whether it's assault, harassment, threats, financial impacts, fraud, theft, all of these different criminal acts that are used in an attempt of control in intimate partner violence. These are all criminal matters that are investigated throughout such a process. And when you talk about an assault, particularly, there's we want individuals to seek medical support. And if we were to investigate a matter of an assault in connection with intimate partner violence, we would seek medical records and documentation. We want historical patterns, and we want to learn as much as we can about such a relationship.
How can someone go about reporting either that be a suspected case of intimate partner violence or something that's happening to them personally?
So there's methods. You can actually email the RNC or the Intimate Partner Violence Unit directly, or contact that unit directly. And of course, you can report an emergency to the RNC through 911. So there's those methods which are more traditional and directly to the RNC. And then there's all the reporting anonymously, whether it's through Crime Stoppers, or you can make a third-party report with the support of the Journey Project, which is collaborative initiative between the Public Legal Information Association of Newfoundland and Labrador and the Sexual Assault Crisis and Prevention Center of Newfoundland and Labrador. And this agency actually will provide education and support to individuals who are victims of sexual assault and also, violence in, interpartner violence.
Yeah, and would you say that victims are aware of the resources that are available to them? And can you talk some more about those resources?
I think that there is quite a bit of discussion around the services and resources, but I would say that many individuals aren't aware, or perhaps don't have the ability to access these resources if they're in areas of the province that they may be out of range and whatnot. So that those challenges do exist. So I would say that these agencies such as Journey Project, as well as certainly the RNC. I mean, we're accessible through our websites and email, and also by phone. And your local police detachment, if in fact you're not located in our jurisdiction, I mean, they would have the same resources available that we would.
Why might someone not seek help? I know there's a variety of reasons, but can you possibly talk about some of those reasons?
Yeah, I think so. Again, we're talking about a very broad and complex discussion here, because you look at reason one. I mean, let's walk through some points. One being embarrassment. Nobody in their life ever believes that they're going to be in a situation where they're becoming isolated and being abused or, a victim of violence, essentially, as a result of a relationship that they're in. And we all, certainly here in Newfoundland, there's a lot of tight-knit families and friends and circles. And sometimes it's the embarrassment that will deter an individual from coming forward. But that is something that, we certainly want individuals to understand, that you're not alone, and you're not the only one who, there's a lot of support circles and programs that you can learn pretty quickly that you are not alone. And that's a very important aspect. Next thing would be fear, fear of what may happen, and, what the other party may do in a situation where, you attempt to leave or, make a change to the environment and leave whether it's the home or the relationship completely. And another big one would be financial restrictions. It may be a situation where the finances are tight, and to leave would put the person leaving in a difficult position, and they fear that perhaps they would have a hard time making it once they remove themselves from that relationship. And these are all very serious and valid and difficult scenarios to be faced by somebody who is also experiencing significant trauma as a result of the experiences that they are going through.
So we already mentioned that 35 to 80% of women affected by intimate partner violence experience symptoms of a traumatic brain injury. Would you say there's a high population of victims that are admitted to hospitals due to intimate partner violence?
Yeah, so it's difficult for me to really speculate on any data or how many individuals would have been admitted, but certainly when the RNC is investigating a matter of an assault or harm caused to an individual in connection with intimate partner violence, we would want that individual to be medically cleared and ensure that they receive the medical supports that they require. And it's a very important aspect of the care, the circle of care that an individual who has experienced that level of trauma would need and deserve when they are on their road to essentially moving on and moving past that experience.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all this information with us. It's definitely been really informative. Is there anything else that you think individuals should know about intimate partner violence or the RNC involvement or anything like that?
So I think it's important to touch on, we talk about the trauma and certainly the brain trauma that, we discussed throughout this piece. And, the impacts on our mental health and, the mental health of an individual who has experienced such events. And, that becomes an impact on their life and, something that individuals will deal with throughout. So it really goes to add into the discussion around the fact that, these traumas and experiences, they do require support. And, it's important to share information with your loved ones and your family and friends so that if they feel behaviors have changed and, there's time for, intervention or for reports to be made, then, they feel that they're in a position to do so.
Yeah, for sure. I think having that support system is very necessary for something such as this because it is something that is quite traumatic for sure. And a lot of times survivors and care providers can mistake symptoms of brain injury for emotional distress brought about by the abuse itself. So obviously a lot of factors kind of come into play there. And it's so important to have the proper supports in place to deal with where those issues and traumas may stem from.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, and this would affect life in a way that, I mean, it affects the workplace, it affects your home life, your relationships with your family, and so on. So it's important to, rely on resources and supports. And, I do want to add that the RNC's Intimate Partner Violence Unit is a very progressive and open-minded, compassionate unit here at the RNC that want to help, individuals and want to be that support and, guide down the path into, a circle of care that is best for each individual.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. It was definitely really, really informative.
Yeah, thank you
No,
so
I
much.
appreciate you inviting me.
All right. So that clues up our final podcast for Brain Injury Awareness Month. If you want to contact the Newfoundland Labrador Brain Injury Association, we are a resource that's here. So you can contact us via email at info@nlbia.ca. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram at NL Brain Injury Association, or you can check out our website at www.nlbia.ca.